Hello everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave with your update for Bitcoin and XRP today because Jack Frost is now on board to do Ethereum and Solana for you. I was expecting Bitcoin to come down to hit support about 60,700 or 58,200. It did that yesterday. It found a low just above 58,400. Slightly above support, and it's got a bullish long lower wick here. Now this could be the end of it, but I want to see some bullishness and upward movement before I have real confidence that this downward swing is complete and support has been found. If we do see a little bit of more downward movement below 58,200, just remember that rectangles very commonly have false breakouts. Our previous support for the early part of the rectangle was along 60,700. We had a strong close below that and price very quickly turned back in and had a swing up to resistance. So this was a false breakout, and so I extended the lower support zone of the rectangle to sit down to 58,200. Now I could pull it down to the low of this candlestick if we wanted to use the lows here, 56,516, but I'd rather put it on the opens and closes here because that's more likely, and that is really close to where yesterday bounced up from support. It's really common for Bitcoin's movements to end with some strength in both directions. Downward movement ended strong here, and it ended with a little bit of strength here after this mucking around here. So yesterday looks like it could possibly be the end of the downward swing about support. Also common for movements to end with strong volume. You saw it here, we saw it here. Didn't happen here, doesn't always happen, saw it here, and we might be seeing it again here. Volume is above average for yesterday and a bit of a volume spike. So for the short term, strongest volume is on downward sessions. So the volume profile for Bitcoin is still bearish. And on balance volume gave a very strong bearish signal. It's moved substantially lower, and price after on balance volume gave that bearish signal has moved substantially lower. So that could be it. This may not necessarily mean that price is going to break downward from the rectangle because the signal happened while price was well up within the rectangle, not close to support at all. And it was followed by a few days of downward movement. ADX is increasing. It's telling us there's a downward trend. It's not the strongest signal ADX can give. It didn't come from a low level. It didn't come up from below both DX lines. It's indicated short-term downward trends within the rectangle here, a downward swing here, upward, upward, and now downward. So this is a short-term indication. RSI is oversold. This doesn't tend to get oversold commonly, and when it's in a bull market, pullback or consolidation, and RSI reaches oversold, that tends to be the end of it. Now it can get more deeply oversold, price can continue lower and then exhibit bullish divergence before downward movement ends. That's how it tends to work in a bear market. So if I'm right and the bigger picture does remain bullish and this is still a bull market consolidation, pullback, then RSI reaching oversold, price bouncing up from support, all should indicate that we should be about to see an upward swing to resistance within that rectangle. Money flow's got a little ways to go before it reaches oversold. Overall, ATR declining with declining volatility as price continues sideways in the consolidation. Stochastics deeply oversold, but ADX tells us there's a trend, so we should go with that. But in order to really go with that model of ADX, money flow, and RSI, I want to see a close below lower edge of support of that rectangle and some downward movement. If that happens, then yes, I'll expect we're in a proper downward trend, not just a downward swing within the rectangle. We've got to break out of that rectangle for confidence in the next direction for price. 2/3 of rectangles, when they come after upward movement, do break out upward. 1/3 will break out downward. So 2/3 likely we're going to see an upward breakout still. With price bouncing up of support and stochastics deeply oversold, I think we may have seen the end of the downward swing there pretty much exactly as expected. The Elliott Wave count for XRP will remain the same at this point. I've checked the hourly chart for the structure for sub-minuet 2. The low of this candlestick did actually come prior to the high, despite it being a red candlestick. So sub-minuet 2 fits as an expanded flat, 3-wave structure for A, 3-wave structure for B. C fits as an ending contracting diagonal at lower time frames. Sub-minuet 2 has not moved beyond the start of 1, so this way of labelling it remains intact. If we do see a new low for the short term below 0.4607, I'd relabel probably minuet wave 1, possibly continuing as a leading diagonal. XRP does tend to like leading diagonals. It's rather unfortunate. They're rather difficult structures to analyse. At the daily time frame, there was an ascending triangle. They do most commonly break out upward, which is what I was expecting, but we did get a downward breakout. The target from the triangle, 0.4227, may not be met because XRP is unable to break below support at 0.46. Yesterday, a bullish lower wick at support. We've got bullish lower wicks happening at support here. Expect overall now a swing up to resistance. 54.55 cents is most likely. For the short term, downward sessions are strongest in terms of volume, so for the short term, the volume profile is bearish. For XRP, previous upward movement did have really strong push from volume though, and as price is moving sideways and lower, volume is overall declining, so this is indicative of this movement, sideways and lower, most likely being a pullback or consolidation within a larger upward trend. ADX is now increasing, telling us there's a downward trend for the short term. RSI's still got a little way to go before it gets to oversold. It did get oversold on 13th of April, suggesting that that low may remain intact. Money flow's heading lower. It's quite a way before that gets oversold. ATR overall showing a little bit of an increase as price moves slightly higher up off the last low, but there's so much whipsawing in that movement. It's very choppy and overlapping, so I wouldn't read too much bullishness into that. That's it from me with your update today. I hope everyone's having a lovely day. I had a lovely day. I surfed a lovely point break. It was really crowded though, so I only got one really good wave, but oh well, tomorrow's another day. Hopefully more surf for me tomorrow.